Shalom, giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations, as always, to the elect. All right, and as you see in the title, looks can be deceiving. All right, as the scriptures say, the heart is deceitful. All right, and when you look up the Hebrew word for heart, it's really your mind. All right, and what you're looking at on the screen here is a particular rapper, a hip hop artist by the name of Logic. Okay, along with his family. All right, now if we were to look at this on face value, we would say we are looking at three Edomites, correct? All right, if you were to see this child in the picture, all right, what would you say? I'm looking at an Edomite, okay? You look at the child, you would clearly, all right, think immediately, all right, the book of Psalms, chapter 137, where it says, happy shall we be when we take the little ones of the Edomites and dash them against the stones as they did us. That's immediately what you would think, all right, when you see this guy Logic, all right, you would immediately think, right, that this is a full-blown Edomite, right? That's what you would think, all right? But, you know, and this is his wife, all right, and these two came together and they had this child, all right? Now, my reason for bringing this out is because Logic, all right, his father is actually a so-called black man, all right? Now, even when you go to his Wikipedia, we'll look at him in a minute, okay? You'll see it says that he was born in Rockville, Maryland, all right, to Robert Bryson Hall, a black Maryland native and a so-called white mother. So he was born to a so-called black man, all right, who laid with a so-called white woman, all right, which happens, all right, all the time. All right, now, though you have particular Israelites who speak against the seed still being, all right, of our nation, if the man lays with a heathen woman, all right, biblically, all right, even within the Messiah's lineage, all right, there were heathen women mentioned, all right, because our forefathers, all right, back then and these days, all right, lay with heathen women, all right. Now, historically, all right, we as the nation of Israel, all right, were to marry amongst our own, all right. Now, when you deal with a marriage, all right, it's a covenant agreement, all right, and that's what we were supposed to do, make covenant agreements and join houses with our own people who share the same God, all right, who share the same, you know, so-called religion, all right, so to speak, have the same outlook so that things don't get mixed, all right. But we were to have concubines of the heathen nations, which a concubine is a lesser wife. You don't join houses, all right, with your concubine. And see, that's where the nation of Israel have always went wrong, as they joined unto the heathen and made marriages with them. They took on their gods. All right. Well, in these times, joining yourself with your own kind, okay, you're even worse off. All right, because it's our women, okay, who ultimately, you know, force the men to go to church, bow to Mary, or whatever garbage it may be. All right. So the notion that if an Israelite man lays with a heathen woman, the seed isn't an Israelite is wicked. That's off. All right. You're downplaying, all right, the, you know, the role that the Heavenly Father gave the man who has the seed. No matter where you plant that seed, no matter what earth you plant it in, okay, if it's an apple's going to come out. Now, the apple may look different based upon the earth you planted in, but it's still an apple. All right. And you do have mitochondria DNA, all right, to where a child can take on a lot of the characteristics of the mother. However, it's still the seed of the father. All right, case in point, Solomon, all right, who dealt with an Ammonitess queen, all right, which we know his mistakes. All right, he had a son by the name of Rehoboam, okay? And ultimately, he sat on the throne, all right, of David, okay? Now, a lot of them did wickedness as you go through the lines of the kings, but they were all still Israelites. If your doctrine is true, okay, then none of these kings are Israelites, okay? Because they all issued forth as you keep going down the line from Solomon through Rehoboam and so forth. All right, so that cuts off, Josiah is not an Israelite. The Messiah himself, as you go through the lineage of the kings, he wouldn't be an Israelite. All right, but anyway, I didn't want to really go all the way into that. But as you see here, this is a rapper Logic. Now, when you look at him, all right, you think he's a so-called white man. Okay, that's going to be the first thing that comes to your mind. Who's this Edomite trying to rap? Which he raps pretty good. His beats are usually pretty good. I don't listen to him much. He did just do a recent album that was pretty good. Something about Vinyl Days is the name of the album. But anyway, here's his father. Okay, here's his father. All right, a so-called black man. Okay, who laid with a so-called white woman. All right, and the child came out and he took on some of the characteristics of the father, but he also took on via mitochondria DNA. All right, because the egg nourishes the seed, and you do take on, traits of your mother as well. All right, he came out looking like an Edomite. Right now in this picture, you can kind of see his features of his father, the features of a so-called black man. All right. But you would think that this was an Edomite. Okay, I believe this is his brother. This is his brother as well. When you looked at him, you think this is an Edomite trying to be an Israelite. Okay. So this child, Logic, eventually grew up, okay, and dealt with what looks as a so-called white woman. Okay. So to see that issue forth from this union, okay, completely looks like an Edomite. Let's go to it real quick. Okay. Seen it there. See? Now, if this child was to grow up and eventually lay with someone who looks like his mother, all right, or a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, so-called white woman, all right, how do you think the child's going to look? Right, he's going to look like a so-called white boy, all right, and that lineage can continue still being the seed of the father, all right, who his father was a so-called black man, all right, for forever. Let's just say that, this place wasn't destroyed. Years later, that line, all right, will completely look like so-called white people. Okay? And this is why, all right, we have to walk in the spirit. Okay? This is why we have to walk in the spirit, because there's a lot of Israelites walking around looking like heathen. Case in point, a brother posted this video where you have a Filipino woman, all right, giving a testimony on her being an Israelite and how her father was a so-called black man. Okay? Now, if you look at her, you'd be like, whatever. All right, but you can watch this video and she gives the history, and when you look at her mannerisms and how she is, which a lot of Filipinos are Israelites. Okay, you'll know that this is a sister. All right, but because of how she looks, a lot of Israelites will say, no, that's a heathen. Now, in times past, we were mocked, all right, for teaching this doctrine, and mocked for, brothers teaching in our camps who look like these heathen nations, all right? But you have to ask yourself, would an actual heathen, all right, be praising the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, going out and teaching the word faithfully for years if he wasn't an Israelite? Does not their sacrifice fulfill prophecy as well? Because the scriptures say, all right, the offspring of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the latter days would awaken, okay, and preach the word, okay, and come back to who they are. The very fact that you have brothers and sisters who look like heathen, all right, coming back as well, all right, can't be looked down upon. Nowhere in the scriptures is the awakening only tied, all right, or the seed only tied to being a particular color. Now, when we all get in the kingdom, all right, we will, I believe, all right, and the apostles say this as well, that's where I got it from, we will all as a nation get our original hue back, all right, that, that dark brown, to light brown hue. We will all, get our how we are originally supposed to look back. Okay. But even you had particular Israelites scoffing this. Man, that ain't no Israelite. And it is what it is. Okay. Because when you read the scriptures, and we know Jake, all right, has went amongst many nations and laid their seed down. Vietnam, China, Japan, Russia, all right, as we've been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? And scattering happened years ago, okay? So how many Israelites do you think, all right, when they were amongst these nations, saw these women and laid with them? That's a legacy. That we've been doing that even at the time of Genesis, the 6th chapter. All right, where the sons of God, which are Adam's descendants through Seth, okay, as you read, they started doing wickedness. And when you go through the whole story, really, that they ultimately started to get into the idols of the heathen, which is pretty much in a nutshell the story of Adam and Eve. Eve representing the church, taking in different philosophies, which caused Adam to go off. The church is ultimately the sons of God, the sons and daughters of God. But what the sons of God did, as you read this in Genesis 6:2, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men, that they were fair, that they were pretty, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is also flesh. Showing you this ain't talking about no angels. This is speaking of men, all right, and women on the earth doing wickedness. All right. He is also flesh. All right. Yet his days shall be 120 years. All right. And it says there were giants in the earth in those days. All right. When you look up that word, it's the Nephilim. All right. Ultimately, the renowned ones who fell from their glory, fell from their estate to be the rulers and leaders of humanity. Okay. And also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, when we started to deal with these heathen nations, they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Okay, just like today, all right, let's look up Blake Griffin. Okay. Let's look it up. Okay. Because the seed that issue forth, all right, from, the sons of God, as they dealt with those heathen women, they were also sons of God. Okay. But they did wickedness. Now, real quick, this is Blake Griffin. This is his father. That's his mother, I believe. Okay. Now, Blake Griffin grew up, which Blake Griffin looks like he He can pass for an Edomite, but you can see he's Jake. But he eventually grew up. He's a Levite. He eventually grew up, and he got with a so-called white woman. Okay? And they had a child. And if you were to see this child, you would say, what? That is an Edomite. All right? You be loud. Ain't no way that can be an Israelite, right? Well, remember, the seed is of the father, the man. That's the father. That's Blake Griffin. He got with a so-called, all right, white woman, and look at the child. See that? That's an Israelite. All right, as it says here in Genesis. All right, as the sons of God laid with these heathen women. All right, the issue that the seed that issued forth from them became mighty men as well, because they're of the seed of their fathers. We were just out of order. All right, and whether you disagree or not, the fact is, Israelite men historically have always laid with heathen women. All right, I didn't write the story. Okay, so as we read here, Numbers 24:5, it says, "How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel, as the valleys are spread forth, as gardens by the river's side, as trees lie of aloes which Yahweh hath planted, and as cedar trees besides the water." Meaning how, our seed is going to be as the sand of the sea. We're going to bring forth many children. And that was a promise that goes back to what was told to Abraham. It says, "He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters." Now, we know the waters are the people. As we've been scattered, all right, when you look up this word buckets, okay, it's ultimately your ball sack, where the semen, all right, virile, all right, is. Okay, buckets, all right. And when you go to the root word, la, to dangle. Now, what's dangling? Okay, what comes out? Okay, there's a bucket, like they dangle if you hold them up. There's water in them. Well, the reading here, give me 1 second here, Slovakia. Give me 1 second. So his water, let's read that again. "He shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters." Now, according to the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, the waters are the people, and there's various other scriptures on it as well. All right, meaning we would be scattered amongst the people, and our seed would be in many waters. Now, what is the seed? Okay. And the guys who are all on this, you got to be with an Israelite woman in order for the child to be an Israelite. All right. A lot of times they're just simps. Okay. Now, I myself, I prefer Israelite women. But when it comes to the truth is the truth, man. Why don't you just say you prefer Israelite women? Goodness gracious, man. You got to teach a whole doctrine that without them, we can't have a nation, because you want to put the importance on the woman. The every nation, all right, the legacy of every nation, all right, and even the inheritance of every nation is determined by the seed, the fathers, the men, the patriarchs, which this whole system is bucking up against the patriarch. And you have our people in that same spirit, based upon the gender wars and everything else that they've picked up from this wicked society. All right. Now, you got to take your emotions out of it. If an Israelite man plants his seed in a heathen woman, what comes out is an Israelite that has going to have characteristics of a heathen, but it's still an Israelite. All right. And yeah, we could go into the scriptures where our men were told to marry amongst their own. And that is good advice. You should marry amongst your own, because a true biblical marriage is the joining of houses. I'm not talking about here in America. A true biblical marriage is the joining of houses, inheritance. Okay? No, when you do that, you do that with an Israelite woman. All right, but when you have a concubine, she can't forward her God. She can't forward her customs, her culture, her language. She got to come up under the banner of your God, your ways, and your people. Point blank, period. And that's in the law. Okay? And usually it was, the kings and men of nobility and men, with substance that multiplied wives and concubines. All right? But it happens. Okay, it's just truth, man. I don't understand why the truth makes you all so, fuzzy inside. Well, fuzzy niggas, man. Just weak, man. Goodness gracious. All right, and ultimately you're fighting against Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, because if your doctrine is true, then Yahweh Shai himself isn't an Israelite. As when you go to that line, those kings, real quick in the book of Matthews, which gives you the Davidic kingly lineage. Okay, it goes to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Okay, Judas, which is Judah, who lay with Tamar. All right, and it goes on and on. All right. It says Salmon begot Boaz of Rahab the harlot, a heathen. Boaz begot Obed of Ruth, a heathen. All right. Obed begot Jesse. Jesse begot David. All right, which David multiplied wives and concubines. Okay. Solomon. Then Solomon begot Rehoboam. Now, who was Rehoboam's mother? An Ammonite queen. Okay? So if your doctrine is true, then right here, well, we could have stopped up there, but right here we cut off nobody else is an Israelite. So shut up. Anyway, where were we? We were looking up the word seed, Zerai. Seed, sowing, offspring, semen, virile, offspring, descendants, children, moral quality, and so forth. So he shall pour the water out of his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. And his king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. And ultimately that would come, all right, through David eventually, okay, who would become king. We would have ultimately 40 years of peace under Solomon. So there you go. Okay. And this was prophesied. All right. Because you still have Israelites that don't believe you can be an Israelite. All right. And look like a heathen. All right. Because they're led by the flesh. They're on this whole, melanin makes you superior. Now, we are the superior in the way we look in our natural sense, in our natural, it is a superior look. All right. But it doesn't guarantee you salvation. And at one point, all nations had dark skin. What stood out with us as Israelites is ultimately the spirit in us. You see? And there's going to be a lot of surprises as these prophecies really start hitting. You're going to see a large multitude of these Israelites who look like heathen, okay, the waking up. You see? Then what you going to do? You're going to say that you basically what you're going to say is they're not granted salvation because of how they look. Where we're all for it. All right? We would love to meet our brothers and sisters who are scattered abroad. I can't wait till the Lord brings us all back as one. Okay, because what we're going through is what? A result of the curses. All right, being scattered, being out of order. You see? But ultimately, the Lord wrote that. That's what he wanted to happen. Okay? Because a lot of you black ass Israelites who sit on the sideline just talking crap, okay, you don't bring forth anything but confusion in your emotions. While you have brothers, even of the northern kingdom, who you all try to forbid, they're on fire. Pushing the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, going out weekly, doing videos daily, weekly, but they're not Israelites. The scriptures say in the latter days, as a matter of fact, let's get one of my favorites in Isaiah, the 44th chapter, and the 3rd verse. It says, "For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground," which is symbolic of the Israelites, the dry bones, "and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed." See, the spirit would be poured upon the seed, and my blessing upon thy offspring. All right. And the promised land is ultimately going to be given unto the remnant. All right. But it starts with the spirit being poured upon them and them standing on their feet and doing exactly this. "And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by the watercourses." I mean, there's going to be a lot of Israelites that are going to start waking up in the latter days. The offspring of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. "One shall say, I am Yahweh's. Another shall call himself by the name of Yahweh or Jacob. Another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh," showing you that we will be calling on the name, "and surname himself by the name of Yasha'Allah." It's not that happening. Not once when you read this scripture does it say. And by the way, this is how we determine we're the Israelites. The Spirit bears witness with our spirit. We're reading out of the book, the Spirit, the words. And we're doing this. Nowhere does it say it's going to be determined by how you look. Okay? Nowhere does it say that. Okay? That's why you have to walk in the Spirit. Okay? As the scripture, what does it say? Judge righteous judgments. Judge not according to appearance. Romans 8:1, there is therefore now no condemnation to them that are in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. Romans 8:5, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, all right, the things of the Spirit. Okay? Verse 13 in that same chapter, for if you live after the flesh, ye shall die, but if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. And one of the things you must do is put off the notion that all Israelites got to look like, all right, Terrell Owens. Okay? That's of your flesh. That's what you have that, that lust. Okay, so you're going to forbid those who are awakening, and we just got to wait for everybody to be dark-skinned that's preaching, all right, or calling on the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. That's wicked as hell, man. And ultimately, the Lord is going to remove you all right, and your candle, which is already dim, is going to be blown out. All right, as it says here, Galatians 5:16, this I say, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so you cannot do the things that you would. All right, this is the book of Habakkuk 1:5. Behold ye among the heathen, as we've been scattered among the heathen. All right, and our seed is in many waters. All right, and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days which ye will not believe, though it be told unto you, that the Heavenly Father spread his chosen seed all throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, and he knows exactly where they are, and he's going to gather them. as it says in the book of Deuteronomy 30. Okay, and in the book of Acts, it was fulfilled as well with the Gentiles awakening. All right, and there was many people that were flabbergasted, many Israelites forbidden them, but they were in the spirit. Those other Israelites were in the flesh, those of the circumcision. They were walking after the flesh. Okay, and let's see here. Deuteronomy 30:3, that then Yahweh thy God will turn thy captivity and will have compassion on thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations, whither Yahweh thy God have scattered thee. And if any of thine be driven out to the uttermost parts of heaven, all right, let's say you have an Israelite man in Poland hundreds of years ago who put seed, all right, in a woman, and eventually that line just looks completely, they're Edomed out. They look like they completely look like Edom, all right? Don't you know the seed of that? The Lord knows that seed is the angels, when they look, they see who's Israelites and who's not, and who's this and who's that. We don't have that ability fully, but when you walk in the spirit, you can see certain things, man. All right? And most important, we know and understand that Israelites are going to come looking like all nations. If any be driven out into the uttermost or outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. See that? So he gonna get us from wherever we at. And America is a scattering. We're here because of a scattering. Well, this is the result of a curse. Okay? All right, and we got people all over the planet Earth, and I can't wait to meet them. Okay, and I'm damn sure not gonna tell the Lord that if they don't look how I want them to look, then it's a no-go for me. I'm not touching that. Get the hell out of here. 1 Samuel 6:17, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, speaking of David, because I have refused him. All right, the Lord ain't looking for, all right, men based upon their height, their stature, how they look. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh upon the heart, which is the mind, where your spirit, or your connection with the Heavenly Father resides. Let's look up this word outward. Outward appearance. I don't know. Let's see here. Outward, ayan. Eye, physical eye. What you see with your eyes. See? What you see with your eyes. And that's how you know remnants of Hebrew are still in the earth, because eye is ayan in the Hebrew. All right, so see if we can get some precepts from this, and I'll close it out. Let's see here. Yep, Isaiah 55:8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heaven is higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Okay. John 7:24, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Okay. And that when you all see brothers in Great Millstone who look like heathen preaching, you immediately get onto the video popping off. Now they're doing the work. All right. You're on a couch with the old school Tommy gear stocking cap. Okay. With a too big t-shirt. Okay. Shorts, the karate house shoes, talking shit on the keyboard. Okay? So they're out doing the work, but you're justified just because you're dark skinned with a keyboard. Okay? Hiding how you we don't even know who a lot of you who a lot of you try to hide, but hey, the Heavenly Father see y'all. And there's a lot of camps over the years who would mock us, okay? That guy Bakwash, I'm not gonna call him Baloo. He's one who used to mock. Great millstone, y'all got heathen, and look at this and that. Okay, where's that guy? He's kind of he pops up, he disappears. I don't even know if he still goes out and teach, but I know he still loads videos. But after all of that crap talking, years later, we caught a video of him teaching that you're gonna have Israelites that look like heathen. Okay? Because another side of this whole spectrum is that you have particular seeds of Edomites who lay with black women that look like so-called black people. Lenny Kravitz, Tia and Tamara, and many, many more who you would say those are sisters. Right? Those are light-skinned sisters. Right? Let's see if we can find a whole family. Yep. Look at that. Now, we don't know how his fathers look, and I'm not going to even look it up, but from what we see, right, this is an Edomite, right? But he laid with the so-called black woman, and he had these two twins. Now, most people who see these two twins, all right, are going to say that's black excellence, right? And there's many more cases like this, man. There's many cases where you have Edomite men or heathen men that lay with so-called black women, right? And the child comes out, all right, due to mitochondrial DNA. The seed that was planted in that woman came out kind of looking like our nation. But guess what? Okay? You look at you see Eve, and all of the children are Edomites. Look at that. What the fuck? So, I'm going to leave that alone. I think there was one more here. 2 Corinthians 10:7. Do ye look on the things after the outward appearance? If any man trust to himself that he is a Mashiach, let him think, all right, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Hamashiachs, even so are we Hamashiachs. And all of the brothers and sisters who are going to come into the fold, who are calling on Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in sincerity and truth, all right, we're accepting of them, man. You see that? We accept them. All right? Because we don't go by DNA test and the dark skin in UN. Nah, it's by the spirit, man. So hopefully I'll edify on to the next. Shalom.